Hello guys, welcome to this video. So in this video, I will talk about a Next.js FFMPG WebAssembly image converter project that I developed inside the browser. So you can basically see this is the actual live demo of the project. And here we have this interface out there where we will click to actually select an image right here. So you can actually select a image here. Let's suppose I am selecting any image that I want to select. Uh, I will go into my documents directory. Let me select this image. You will basically see this is the actual image, which is format. It will show you JPG and the size 0.29 megabytes. And there is a drop down right here where you can basically select to any format: JPEG, PNG, GIF, Webp. If I select PNG, you will see as soon as I select this, in real time it will convert this image and it will also show the size as well. So now the size is 1.81 megabytes. So it has using FFmpeg, basically it enhances the image, and that's why the size of the image is increased from 0.29 megabytes to 1.18 megabytes. So it automatically detects the image, guys, how is the quality of the image, and automatically enhances the quality, and that's why the size is longer. Now there is a download button also available. You can click the download button and download the image. So it's a very good tool based website that I developed in Next.js, guys, which allows you to actually convert your images from one format to another. You can even convert this into WebP format as well. You will see WebP format is a very special format which is used specifically in internet. It's a new format, and it basically size of these WebP images are very low. That's why if you see, it has been reduced from 0.29 megabytes to 0.09 megabytes, so 30.31% of reduction. So it is also a image compressor as well as image converter. It basically transports the images size, and basically it converts into a flexible size in case of WebP format. So it reduces the size of the image intelligently using FFmpeg WebAssembly. We are using it in the browser. It's a total client-side application. No server-side code is involved. It's using Next.js, which is actually a we are using Next.js framework, and this is actual code for building this application. If you need this source code, guys, the link is given in the description of the video. You can directly purchase it. After you purchase it, you will get a zip file which will actually contain this directory structure. You will get the full source code, and basically you will get a zip file. You need to extract the content, and this will be the directory structure. So after you make the payment, you will be able to download the source code from Google Drive. And you can see we are running this application on localhost 3000 on my development server, and in my command line, if you see, we are basically running this npm run dev. So it is running it on localhost 3000. You can see that the development server it is running. So just refresh it, you will see that this application will launch here. So you just need to select any image. So it will tell you the size of the image, format, and then you can select, you can even convert this to GIF format as well. So WebP format. Instantly, the application is really fast, guys, because as you know that Next.js applications are ultimately single page applications, are ultimately effective, very good for SEO purpose as well. You can deploy this application on your own website and earn a lot of money as well. So it's an image converter and compressor which enhances your images size, and also it reduces the image size as well. Depending upon, it automatically detects the size of the images, and depending upon that it reduces the size. Or you can see we've basically converted this 0.110 megabyte has been reduced to 0.07. So you can simply download. So it's a good tool, guys, and I will basically show you which dependencies we have used here. We have actually used FFmpeg WebAssembly. This is the actual package that we used, guys, for building this. So it's a browser based library for FFmpeg. You can directly execute FFmpeg right here in the browser without having to installing it in the command line. You can directly use it in the browser to actually make these awesome little applications. So This is, you can see sample JPG. It is 10 megabytes. Let me select this file and show to you. If I go to the downloads directory, click on this sample JPG. So now this file will load, guys. You can see the size of this file is 10 megabytes. Format is JPG. Now if you want to reduce to Webp format, it will now converting to Webp. Please wait because the image size is large. You just need to wait for the conversion to take place, and after it converts, it will reduce the size of this image to very less size. So large size images take a lot of time, guys. So it's a client side application, so you need to wait for the conversion to finish. And it is using FFMPG, which is actually converting this. You can open this image in a new tab as well. The size basically, so it is using this FFmpeg web assembly library. Sometimes it can, if you basically have a very large image, then it can hang. Let me put a 5 megabytes image, let's suppose WebP format. I think these images are very special images, I think, which is just need to try out this application. This works with, you can see that it took some time because the size of the image was very large, so 5 megabytes. So typically images are not that much of size, but if you have such images, you can simply use this tool. The limit is endless. There is no such limit of size in this application. You just need to wait for the conversion to finish, just depending upon the size of the image that you are uploading. So you can see it has reduced the size of the image from 5 megabytes to right here 43 kilobytes, 43 KB. So 8%. If you want to download now, only 439 kilobyte, you will see the quality of the image remains the same, and yet we basically reduce the size of the image from drastically 90% reduction in size. So if I open this WebP file right here in the browser, you look at it, looks very same, no reduction in the quality, yet we basically use this tool to actually compress the images as well. So it's a very good compression tool, image to WebP format tool. You can switch to any format, PNG, GIF, any format, but just want to wait for the conversion to finish depending upon the size of the image you are uploading. So now we will simply code, guys. So now you can see PNG image or PNG's images are greater in size as compared to JPG images. So it has enhanced its image even more and increased the size to 30 megabytes. So depending upon the format, it automatically detects whether to reduce or whether to enhance. So in this way, you can even select JPEG format as well. So you will see again it reduced from 5 megabytes to, this is for 476 kilobyte. If you open now the same image, this is the same image which has been reduced. So you can simply deploy this tool, guys, on your own website. If you are liking the content, please hit that like button, subscribe the channel as well. Now let me show you how I built this application. So this is actual directory structure. We have different components out there. File picker for picking up the file, input image preview for live previewing the image, input image, output image for showing the output image, and output image format select for basically selecting whichever format you need to convert the image to. So these are the four components, client side components of our Next.js application, and this is our server side component, which is index.js, where we are actually processing the image using FFmpeg WebAssembly library. You can see we are actually importing all these modules at the very top. And now what I will do is that I will simply uh, code this application just for your clarity. I will simply delete some things right here and just show you how it works. So, so the very first thing, guys, we are doing, we are basically declaring, we are invoking create FFmpeg, which is a WebAssembly, and here we are providing the core path. So core path is coming from the CDN that we are loading, which is unpackage website unpackage.com, and basically it contains the CDN, which contains the WebAssembly library that we are using for building this project. So this is the URL here. You can even access this URL. So this is a CDN which is accessible in the browser as well. There is additional property of log. You can provide it to true depending upon whether you want to see the log or not. Then we are asynchronously loading this by using this function, asynchronous function, and we are simply loading this FFF. It contains the load function, and here we are simply loading this and calling this function automatically. This function will automatically load, and basically as you launch your application, it will compile this. You can see the application has been compiled successfully. So after you do this, uh, now we need to basically declare the state, whatever data that we will be having. So this will be first of all input image and the set input image. And here we are basically using the use state hook, which is empty. This is storing the reference of the input image that the user will select. So current value will be null. And after that, we will have the transcoded image data. So this data will be the base64 data, guys. With the help of this, we will be reading the file in the browser without storing it in a database. So we will simply be converting this into base64 data. So the current value will be an empty object use state, if you see. After that, we will have whatever format the user select, set format. Again, this value will be empty. And then whatever URL that we get for the output image, this also will be empty or null when we launch the application. So this will be the output URL, output base64 URL that we will display for the output image after processing the image using WebAssembly library of FFmpeg. And loading, if you want to show the loading progress bar, you can even show that as well. Initial value will be of false. We don't want to show the progress bar whenever we launch the application. So this will be false. So these are all the state variables we will be using for this application. The input image, transcoded base64 image data, the format of the image, the output URL, and the loading progress bar. So these are all the states for the application, Next.js application. So now guys, in the HTML, if you see, we have this input image that we are displaying right here, and we are basically for handling the change, this is a file picker that we embedded. So basically whenever you pick the file from the file picker, this function will execute handle change. So whenever the file changes, this function will execute handle change. So now we will write this function, which is handle change. So handle change, and async, this will be a async function, and right here we will get access to the file by e.target.files. E parameter will be passed as an argument automatically to this function. So we will simply set the input image to the actual file that exists and set the URL. So this will be await as this is async function. So I created a helper class which will actually read this data as base64. So we are simply setting the URL right here. You can see that base64 URL, and we will simply do this. After this, we will use also write this function which will be executed automatically whenever the user will change the format from PNG, JPG, GIF, or Webp. Whichever format the user select, this value will be captured automatically. This function will automatically capture this value, and now we will compare the value which the user selects. So now if the value matches the format, then return. So format basically represents here the initial value of format is nothing. So we are simply checking that if the format is no format is selected, then we don't want to process this image. If one format is selected, then we will need to set the format first of all to that format, to the value, and then we will call this function transcode transcode image, and this function we will create, guys. Transcode image. We will pass the input image and the value. So we need to create this transcode image, input image, and the actual value. So this function is responsible, guys. This will be a async function. So just make it async. We will pass the input image and the actual format which is selected by the user. This will be an arrow function. So you will first of all set the loading to true. From false to true, which need to show the progress bar. And then we will simply say if the FFMPG is loaded, this function will execute. If, if it is loaded, then in that case we need to load this. So we will put a not sign right here. So we will simply compare if the FFmpeg library is not loaded, then we will load that library by calling this load function. After it is loaded successfully, we will basically use the file system module to actually write the file, which is it is using the WebAssembly library of FFmpeg. It contains this write file. We will basically write this in the memory input image dot name await, and we will basically fetch file, and this one we will pass the input image. And now in the try catch block, we will now process the image. So if any sort of error take place, we can simply console log it. So in this function, guys, we will basically convert that image to that specific format, which is FFF run, and dash I for the dash input, and then input image dot name, and then we will basically pass the format, whichever format that you want to convert. So in backtick symbol, we will simply write image dot and the actual format. So now we will convert this to blob. So data dot buffer, and this one type will be of image slash whatever is the format. Either you select JPG, PNG, whatever is the format, like this. So we are basically creating a new blob object, passing the data first of all as a first argument, and the second will be the type, mem type, and then it basically creates the data URI, and we will basically read this as base64, pass it as blob, and then we will say set transcoded image data to, this will be set to the new image size, which will be blob.size, original image size, which is input image size. It get access to all these things, guys. In this is the beauty of this library, and the new image source, which is data URI. So we set this, and now we just need to delete that file. So for deleting the file, there is a file system fs, and we will simply use this function unlink to actually delete that input file. That's all. And also here finally we will have a finally as well to actually hide the progress bar, set loading to true, sorry, false. We put true here and we put false here. That's all. This is all the code which is there in the main Next.js server. Rest of the project has all these components. So the link is given in the description. If you are interested, you can directly purchase it. After you do this, you will be able to, if you see, it is saying that create FFmpeg is not a function. Sorry, I think I made a mistake. It's a very so it's a very complicated project, guys. Sometimes it can create some error as well. So just wait. You can now see. So if you now select any file, uh, it will show you the size, format. Uh, I think some kind of error is taking place. I Okay, it is saying data is not defined right here. If you see, we use the data attribute right here. It is showing this data is not defined. This data is not defined. Let me see, guys, what error I made. It is better to test out this application. Data is not defined. Sorry, I call this as data. Sorry, this needs to. Okay, okay. Const input image ffront dash I input image dot name format const data. Okay, I forgot this line. You need to read the file. Sorry, read the file. Just after this line, you need to paste this line. So you will read the file first of all, and the data will come right here, and then we will pass this data dot buffer. So now if you refresh now, before we will basically read the file, uh, select our format, and now the file will be converted and you will see uh, whichever format. 31% reduction. You can click download, the file will be downloaded. So this is the overall project in Next.js. If you are interested, the link is given, guys. You can directly purchase it from my website and you will get this full source code. And it's a very nice project. You will be able to learn something in FFMPEG WebAssembly, which you can do it to make these awesome little applications. Please hit that like button, subscribe the channel as well, and I will be seeing you in the next video.